dude.
So, the reason that I bring that up is because this is why now, I think you mentioned there's 37% of the clinical trials being done through the FDA right now are on these psychedelic related molecules, either natural or not.
The last 36 months, the largest segment of new IND applications are related to psychedelic.
And the FDA is so, I think, amendable to approving these types of trials because they know they fucked up, and they also know that we have these phones and we can look these things up. We can look up these retrospective studies, and more people are talking about it.
I think that's one piece. I also think, like, dude, if your agency and your regulatory body was responsible for these drugs, and we now have decades of data showing that these drugs are not helping, these symptoms are just getting worse and worse and worse. I mean, it's kind of tough not to look at new shit.
The NIH published a study online, 2006. There is no such thing as a psychiatric disorder, disease, or chemical imbalance. That's the NIH. This is wild. So, we pose these, I guess we try to wake up, anybody that's kind of talking to go and do this research, right? If you have your kids on these things, we aren't doctors. But these were also drugs that were made in a lab that before necessarily didn't have any efficacy, that were kind of just made to inhibit something that the brain naturally creates, which is serotonin. It's one of the feel-good, happy chemicals. And there's this thinking that there's an overproduction of that. And then these drugs come in and they cover these receptors and they inhibit the overproduction of what we know to not be true, which is a serotonin overload.
Not even the overproduction, dude. Sometimes it's just to numb it so you don't feel anything.